Have you ever heard of a medicine so bizarre, so gruesome, that it sounds like something straight out of a horror movie? What if I told you that for centuries, the most respected doctors and even royalty in Europe believed in the healing power of human remains? Yes, you heard that right. We're talking about medical cannibalism. Kings, queens, and everyday people were consuming parts of the human body, not as part of some strange ritual, but as legitimate medicine. How did this practice, which seems so horrifying to us today, become mainstream? And what made it finally disappear? Join us as we uncover the strange and unsettling history of corpse medicine. It all started with a simple mistake, a misunderstanding in translation. Ancient Roman medical texts mentioned a substance called mummia, which was a natural bitumen or asphalt found seeping from a mountain in Persia. This black, sticky substance was believed to have powerful healing properties. However, when these texts were translated into Arabic, the word mummia was also used to describe the resin-covered bodies preserved in Egyptian tombs. The lines began to blur. By the 12th century, when European scholars translated these Arabic texts into Latin, the confusion was complete. They came to believe that the most potent mummia was not the mineral pitch, but the mummified human flesh itself. And just like that, a new and macabre trade was born. Tomb raiders began plundering ancient Egyptian graves, stealing mummies to be ground into powder and sold across Europe. Apothecaries proudly displayed jars of this mummia powder on their shelves. It was prescribed for everything from headaches and coughs to epilepsy and internal bleeding. The demand became so immense that the supply of genuine ancient mummies couldn't keep up. This led to a grim cottage industry of creating counterfeit mummies. Grave robbers would take the bodies of recently deceased criminals, beggars, or plague victims, stuff them with bitumen, and bake them in the sun to mimic the appearance of ancient Egyptian remains. It was a gruesome but profitable business. But the use of human bodies in medicine didn't stop with ancient mummies. As the Renaissance dawned, a new and arguably more direct form of medical cannibalism took hold. Influenced by the 16th century physician Paracelsus, doctors began to believe in the principle of like cures like. They thought that the life force or spirit of a person was strongest, right at the moment of death. Therefore, the freshest bodies were considered the most potent. The blood of a young, healthy person, for instance, was thought to be a powerful remedy for epilepsy. It wasn't uncommon for people suffering from seizures to gather at public executions, paying the executioner to catch the fresh, warm blood of the condemned in a cup, which they would drink on the spot. Human fat was rendered into ointments for aches and pains. Skulls were a particularly popular ingredient. The moss that grew on the skulls of unburied soldiers, known as usnea, was highly prized for treating wounds and nosebleeds. King Charles II of England even had his own personal remedy called the King's Drops, which he distilled himself in his private laboratory. Its main ingredient? Pulverized human skull. He took it for seizures and believed it could restore his health and vitality. This wasn't a fringe practice. It was endorsed by the highest levels of society. Even respected figures of the scientific revolution, like the chemist Robert Boyle, saw potential in these grotesque remedies. So why did people believe in this? Well, it wasn't just superstition. The logic, however twisted, was tied to the spiritual and scientific beliefs of the time. The body was seen as a vessel for the soul or spirit. By consuming a part of a healthy body, especially one that died suddenly, it was thought you could absorb its vitality and life force. An execution, for example, was a public and dramatic event. The spirit was believed to depart the body with great force, and consuming the blood or flesh immediately after was seen as the best way to capture this powerful essence. For a society grappling with plagues, short life expectancies, and limited medical knowledge, any potential cure, no matter how grisly, was worth a try. As the 18th century and the Age of Enlightenment progressed, things began to change. The rise of modern science, with its emphasis on empirical evidence and rational thought, started to cast doubt on these ancient practices. Scientists began to understand anatomy, chemistry, and the true causes of disease. The idea that a powdered skull could cure epilepsy started to seem less like medicine and more like morbid folklore. The practice didn't vanish overnight, but it slowly retreated from the mainstream. Apothecaries quietly stopped selling mummia powder. Doctors stopped prescribing blood and fat. By the 19th century, medical cannibalism was largely seen as a barbaric relic of a more superstitious past. However, its ghost lingered. Well into the 20th century, some folk remedies in rural parts of Europe still contained echoes of these old beliefs. And even today, the concept of using the human body to heal persists, albeit in a much more scientific and ethical form. We have blood transfusions, organ transplants, and skin grafts practices that save countless lives. These modern medical miracles are a world away from the gruesome corpse medicine of the past, but they share a fundamental idea, that one body can be used to mend another. The history of medical cannibalism is a sobering reminder of how far medicine has come, and a fascinating, if unsettling, look into our ancestors' desperate search for a cure. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of history's darkest medical chapters. If you found this story as strangely compelling as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden corners of the past. See you next time.